decimal system. Let's focus on rounding. With rounding, you've got to think about, why am I doing it? Well, sometimes if we are talking about maybe really large numbers, or maybe you're just at the grocery store, sometimes it's easier to approximate a number than to say the exact number. If we're talking very large numbers, think about the company of Apple. We could say Apple earns roughly $400 billion a year. That's an estimate used rounding to find that number, and that's so much easier than if we would say the exact, 397 billion, 436 million, and it goes on and on and on. We can round to make it easier. Now, the place value to which we want to round really depends, one, on the number, and also, what are you using that number for? Go back to the grocery example. If I'm going to the grocery and buying items, I probably don't want to round to the nearest 10 cent. That doesn't make any sense. I'm round to the nearest dollar. If you're going clothes shopping, maybe you're rounding to the nearest $10. It just depends on the item and what you're using that value for. Rounding will help us estimate, and it really makes the mental math easier to, well, calculate and understand. That's the whole purpose. Now, rounding has some rules that are kind of common and known, and we're going to review those because, just like anything in math, if you haven't used it, it's probably gone. So let's refresh. To round a number, we want to first locate the place value we are rounding to. So you really have to understand place value for this. When we are rounding, all digits to the left of the place that we are rounding to, they do not change. They stay exactly as they are. So we find that place value, we locate the digit directly to the right, and we underline it. That is the digit that is going to determine how we round, whether we round up or down. So if that digit we just underlined is 5 or greater, we're going to round up. If the digit is 4 or less, we round down. And rounding down simply means the digit doesn't change. So after that, all of the digits to the right of that rounding place value, they will stay and become zeros. All right, let's look at some examples. We're going to round 32,761 to the nearest thousand. All right, so the first idea is, what number is in the thousand place? So for our number, the digit in the thousands place is the 2. So the 3 and the 2 will not change, right? That number and the numbers to the left stay the same. We're going to underline the digit directly to the right of the 2, which in this case is 7. So again, 2 is in the thousands place. Underline the digit directly to the right of that. Now 7 is 5 or greater. Therefore, we're going to want to round up. It changes the number in the thousands place. So instead of the 2, it's going to become a 3, and rounded to the nearest thousand is 33,000. There's our rounding. Let's do the same number, but now we're going to round to the nearest 10,000. Just to emphasize, place value matters. So what number is in the 10,000 spot? Well, that's a 3. Right? The 2 is in the 1,000. The next place value over is the 10,000. So the 3 is the only number here that is not going to change. We're going to underline the digit directly to the right of the 3, which we know is the 2. And you might say, well, 2 is less, right? It's less than 5. It's 4 or lower. So we're going to round down. Rounding down simply means that 3 is not going to change. So rounded to the nearest 10,000 is 30. Now you try this. So hit pause, try it, come back, check out the answer. We're going to round 267,453 to the nearest 10. Try it on your own, come back and look at the answer. Okay. The digit in the tens place is the 5. So the digit directly to the right of that is 3. So we're going to underline the 3. 3 is less than 5. So we're going to round down, meaning the 5 stays the same. Remember, everything to the left, 5 and to the left, are going to stay the same. 267,450. So really, the digit that is underlined and any other digits to the right, they all become zeros. And that's how we get there. Now, if you understand the rules and this is great, you can go on your merry way. Sometimes it's helpful to think about rounding with a number line just to give you a visual. So this is kind of an extra thing if you really just need a visual of this. So let's go back to our initial example of 32,761 to the nearest thousand. Now we know what the answer is because we've talked about this already, but think about it from a number line perspective. If we're rounding to the nearest thousand, we know the 2 is in the thousand spot, so we're looking at either 32,000 or 33,000. You still have to understand place value to use number lines, but this is our idea. We're using 32,000 or 33,000. Our number is between those two values as thousands. So if we consider a number line with these values as kind of our endpoints. So if I have 32,000 on the left and 33,000 on the right, I know that 32,500 is directly in the middle. Our number, 32,761, is to the right of 32,500, but not quite to 33,000. If you think about this, right, with the visual representation, it is clear to see that 32,761 is closer to 33,000. Therefore, because it's closer to 33,000, that is how we would round to the nearest thousand. This is not any faster, it's not any better, but it gives you a visual representation. Now, this only works if you can still find the place value and understand if I'm dealing with 32,000 some and I need to go to the nearest thousand, my endpoints are 32 or 33,000. So that is the key of these two pieces, okay, using the number line. So hopefully if you needed a visual, that helps a little bit. Otherwise, just remember your rounding rules and you'll be good to